4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Darkheart Thicket Mythic 15. My first pull is going to be all the way up to the bear. Two mobs that I need to worry about are a circle and moon. Mainly just interrupts and standing in circles, avoiding standing in circles. Grizzly needs to be DPS down fast as it spawns ads. Ads leave corruption on the ground, as well as they target a single player. You can see those ads. The next two mobs I just focused on interrupts, despair, and their shower cast. Again, the same mobs just spawn in different areas. However, these birds are a little bit different. Every so often, they'll do a ramp up to where they get ready to charge. Just sidestep the charge. Because this week we're dealing with shades, the goal is to try to move as fast as you can after mobs die to prevent the shades from hitting melee players. In the situation where you can't keep progressing forward, then you want to AoE the shades down. And as a DPS, just make sure you're not DPSing your own shade, unless you're ranged to where you can outrange your shade while DPSing. Yep, we pulled the side mob here. Other than the night claws randomly pouncing on people, just avoid the circles, dispel where you can. And for me, I try to keep up my bone brew for the melee damage. Shades despawn after a while, I forget the time. But again, if you CC them and just keep moving forward, then you can avoid them. Here I mark the target to attack first, because again, these bears, they spawn ads. If we split the DPS, then that's just going to increase the number of ads that are spawned. Whereas if we DPS down one bear first, then the ads that bear spawns goes away, and we're just still dealing with one set of ads.
Three, two. 3, 2, 1. AoE.
Alright, for the first boss, not much going on here except that he randomly pounces on a player, typically the one that's furthest apart or furthest away from the group. Then he does a charge or a knockback first and then a charge on the tank. For tanks that don't have mobility, you kind of have to wait till you get knocked back, let 1 or 2 seconds go by, and then sidestep out of the charge. If you move too soon, he'll follow you or pivot towards you, and you'll still get hit. And obviously, the higher the key, the more damage.
Dodge.
So you see, I waited a little bit, and he turned a little bit. I actually moved a little bit too soon, but I was still moving fast enough to where I was able to outrange him. DBM is crucial in this dungeon in particular, so you can do your timing and your placement. Knock back,
Dodge.
get out of the way, no damage. Ads should be a priority, that's why they're marked. The longer that they stay up, the more corruption on the ground develops, and then you'll soon get overrun by corruption if you don't take down the ads.
Dodge.
I am the Defiler. A fluke. Savor it and pray you do not face me next. They will be more than prepared. For your true power rests in the nightmare.
As usual, I mark the targets that are important.
When you open your mouth again, it will be to cry.
Watch your step. Watch your step.
So for these trash mobs, the biggest thing is the mushroom that spawned underneath you.
Watch your step. Move.
If you don't have deadly boss mods, they can spring up kind of spontaneous. And if you get caught, that's massive damage. That can one-shot you.
Watch your step.
So usually you can find an indicator by the swirlies on the ground to let you know that one's spawning up. This is a big pool. Again, you got multiple mobs that's going to be able to do the mushroom spawns. So pathing is going to be crucial. Make sure I don't lead the DPS over a mushroom spawn. And I don't get caught in the corner myself.
Move. Watch your step. Move.
So I'm just kiting them backwards in a straight line. That way DPS can kind of see where they can move.
Watch your step.
And with the shades, it adds a extra layer of complication.
Watch your step. Watch your step.
these nightmare dwellers, all they do is fear once their cast is complete. So ideally, you want to interrupt the cast. You can do hard interrupts or CCs as well. Come up to the second boss, Oakheart. It does a couple abilities. One, he randomly roots members or spawns roots underneath members.
Watch your step.
All you do is sidestep out of it. It can only be damaged by direct DPS, so no AoE. Typically, you just ignore it until the mobs come up, and then bring the mobs to the tank. He does that frontal breath. So you don't want to be in front of the boss. And then he picks the tank up and targets a random player.
Watch your step.
Ideally, the random player that he targets, as soon as he throws the tank, you want to sidestep out of the circle. If you have any mobility abilities, that'd be the time to use it. It appears the closer you are to the boss during that phase, the less damage he does when he tosses the tank at you. So try to stay close. Or unless somebody has any data that says otherwise, let me know in the comment section below.
Ads. Watch your step.
Knock.
Defensive.
I told you to leave me alone. A pity you have come this far only to die in the hands of Saviors. An empty threat. You hold no sway over this realm, Nightmare Lord. Bold words for a
Alright, for these Furies, they do a charge. So you sidestep the charge, and then they randomly summon a orb that drops and then does AoE damage. And then when they die, they spawn little bursters. You want to interrupt the cast because they replicate themselves and DPS them down. This whole phase, or this whole area, is just AoE DPS. And assuming that you use the same route, you can skip this this last mob and go straight to the boss. Alright, for the dragon boss here, he does a frontal that you can sidestep as a tank, called Breath of Corruption. If you're a DPS, don't be in front of the boss.
Wind.
Earth Shaking Roar, which does an AoE kind of rock slide. Just sidestep out of that, can target a random party member. And then downdraft, which is an ability that pushes you outward of the dragon. Now, the closer you are to him during that phase, the less impact that wind knockback has. So you could potentially do free DPS during that phase if you stay in melee range.
B. Wind.
Again, just focusing on interrupts, especially the ones that I mark. And we still had shades during this dungeon, so again, trying to push forward as fast as I can right after the mobs start dying to avoid melee being hit by their own shade. And the last boss. Last boss is simple as long as you follow the mechanics. You get a hollow purple circle around you. You stand next to somebody. You get corruption underneath you. You move away from the party.
What is this? Don't make me laugh.
So there he goes. He casts Growing Para on the caster. Caster's fine where they are, which was the hunter. Got the corruption growing around him. No issues, no extra damage.
AoE.
There's another cast, Nightmare. Again, that's the hollow purple circle. If you have it underneath you, go to the group. If you don't go to the group, you won't be able to attack. And if you have the purple circle and you stand on somebody else who has that corruption underneath them, then you both get feared. Again, hollow purple, stand next to somebody. So you guys both occupy the circle. If you get the corruption, stand away from people. Easy day. And that's Darkheart Thicket, Mythic level 15.
Well-earned victory. We must, however, stay vigilant.